Hello and welcome to this little video. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite little point and shoots, which is this, the Canon A1 or the SureShot A1 because the A1 is a SLR camera. Now this went under a number of different names depending on region. So it was originally released in 1994 and in the US it was under SureShot A1. In Japan, it was released as the Auto Boy D5, and in Europe, it was the AS1. I don't know how I ended up with the SureShot A1 because this is the American model, and there are a couple of different variations with these. So there's this version is only full frame. Apparently, there is a version that will shoot panoramic, which I was fully unaware of. But this little thing travels with me everywhere. I have it in my bag all day, every day, wherever I go, regardless of what I'm doing. It takes me a while to shoot film through it, but for what it offers, I think it's probably one of my favorite little film point and shoots I've ever used. I've in the past used Contax T2s, which are very expensive and I think very much overhyped. Olympus Mewtwo's, which are very, very good, but they have a propensity to fire the flash in every shot, which is just infuriating. And some other stuff, which is, yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. But for me, this little thing has been amazing. It's got a fixed 32mm f3.5 lens, which is surprisingly sharp. And I think just being a fixed lens is always a good thing, although having some zoom sometimes is useful. But quality wise, the lens on this is amazing. It's autofocus, obviously, most of them are, and fully automatic, no options for manual overrides or anything like that. Everything is done with this little dial on the front here. So to turn the camera on, that turns this to auto, which has got a red eye option. And if it's dark, it will do that. That's the autofocus going out. And then you've got an option for underwater, which is full manual focus. So this is or was marketed as an underwater camera. I've never used it underwater purely out of fear of it breaking. I have also had some problems with the battery door. As you can see, there is a little crack here, which I've glued back. So that's one of the reasons I don't shoot this underwater, because I'm pretty sure it's no longer watertight. However, it was marketed as an underwater camera. There are O-rings in the back. I've got a film in here at the moment, but there's an O-ring that goes all the way around in order to prevent water getting in. There's also O-rings in the battery compartment and takes one CR123 battery, which lasts absolutely ages, especially when you have it off all the time. It's surprisingly small and lightweight. I mean, it's completely plastic. It's completely, yeah, everything about it is plastic apart from the screws probably. Really nice big viewfinder. So that's designed specifically for using with glasses, goggles, if you're diving or skiing or whatever. Yeah, it's one of those cameras that people don't really talk about. And I know that it goes kind of under a load of different names. It will be under different names depending on where you are, as I mentioned earlier. And there's a couple different models of this floating around. So there's some with sort of data backs and things like that. But yeah, it's one of those cameras that I think the people that have used them love them and adore them. And people that haven't just are completely unaware of it. But I think it's one that deserves a little bit more love. In terms of operations, very, very simple. So for loading film, it's literally pop the film in, pull it over to the marker, close the door, auto advance, and then auto rewind when you finish the film. Interestingly, there's no option to rewind the film mid-roll. So if there's a problem with the camera, you need to take the camera into a dark room in order to get the film out safely. Otherwise, you can't get the film back in the canister and out safely without ruining all the shots, which is a little bit weird for me. As for film that's usable in this, it's DX coded from ISO 25 all the way up to 3200. Being a 90s camera, it was fairly common to get higher ISO films. Earlier point and shoots normally max out about 800, 1600. So having the option to go up to 3200 if I ever wanted to is really, really nice. The autofocus is surprisingly accurate. There's one point in the viewfinder in the middle, which is where it will focus anything. But if you half press, focus, and then you can recompose. So really straightforward, really easy to use. If you are going to use this underwater, no autofocus. There is no autofocus underwater. It is literally just this going to the fish mode here. It will, it's unclear what it actually does. So depending on which manual you read, some say that it will only focus between 0.45 and 1 meter. Some say that it will switch between 0.45 to a meter, and then if it's something further away, it won't shoot. So I've never tried it, so I don't know. But as soon as you let go of that, it goes back to auto. So it doesn't stay on the underwater mode. That's all it's doing is literally, if you're going to shoot underwater, you would turn it to the underwater mode. Or I guess if you want to do close up, turn it to that, it will then default to close focus. As you can see, you've got some control over flash. So you can force the flash to be on. So the little lightning bolt, that's going to be flash every single shot. The capacitor does take a little while to charge up sometimes, and there's a little blinking LED telling you when it is charging in the viewfinder. And then the other option here is flash off. So if you definitely didn't want flash, you could turn that off and the camera will then try and compensate just with shutter speed. But really straightforward, really simple to use, very, very basic. Self-timer on top. So instead of pressing the shutter button, which is the red one, you'd press the self-timer if you wanted to be in the shot. But yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised by this camera. It's one that I picked up from work, as I do with most of them, just because I thought it looked quite cool. And for the size and weight wise, really, really nice. It does, yeah, fit in a bag. Image quality wise, I wasn't really expecting much when I got it, but yeah, I hope I've been putting images up and they should speak for themselves that it's a really sharp little lens. It's a really, really good autofocus system, actually. I've been pleasantly surprised with how accurate it is. I didn't think it would be as reliable as it has been. Even in somewhat tricky situations, it kind of just gets it. And I guess that's mainly due to it being a later autofocusing system, being 1994. So yeah, 30 years old. If you do get a chance to pick one up and you do get a chance to shoot one, they're really, really fun. I think they're selling for about £100 in the UK. I haven't looked in a while, but yeah, it's one that if you can afford that, it's definitely one that's worth investing in because although it is fully electronic and will probably break down eventually, me being the pessimist, the results are really, really good. And I'm really surprised that more people don't talk about this, considering it looks the way it looks. It gives you the image quality that it gives. It's so straightforward, it's really easy to use, and yeah, it's definitely one that I think people need to pay a bit more attention to. I mean, there's others that people need to pay more attention to. I've got a Nikon L35AF, I think, AW, underwater, all weather, not underwater, all weather, which is great, and image quality wise is probably on a par with this, but this is so much smaller and lighter, and that's really big and heavy. And so yeah, for a bag, this is great, and I take it everywhere, and I've shot loads of rolls through it, and yeah, can't really recommend it enough. So yeah, quick run through of a funny look camera, bit of an oddity. Don't know what it's like underwater. I'm going to throw up some pictures while I'm talking, which will hopefully give you an example of what this lens and what this camera is capable of. If you've ever shot one or are thinking of picking one up, pop your thoughts down in the comments. Any questions in the comments, anything like that, just give me a shout. As I say, I've shot with this quite a lot, so I'm fairly au fait with using it. Thank you very much for watching, and if you like the video, like the video. If you really like the video, you can subscribe, that'd be great. And yeah, I will see you in the next video.